Welcome to Into the Night. Tonight I'm going to do a review on the iAiming Game Changer thermal scope. This model is the iA612. The 2.4 times to 19.2 times magnification. The 640 by 512 resolution sensor. Just show you what's inside the box. User manual. Into focus. Okay, we've got an Allen key for tightening up all the mount. Battery charger. Not a bad battery charger. You can change the input amps so you can, whether you want a faster or slower charge. The adapter, just a sling for the case. And we've got the lens cleaning brush. It's got quite a nice soft brush. And a clean lens cloth, and the batteries, .6 volt, 3,400 milliamp hour batteries, 18650s. This is the scope itself. Now this here, it is an attachment, an aftermarket scope, your ring adjuster thing. Your push button, your scroll wheel. There's your lens. That is just, I think, for future updates or something they can connect it up. I'm not exactly sure what that does, but nothing to do with the function of the scope by the user. Good eye relief, robust eyepiece there. Here's your mounts. The Allen key you can put in those holes. I'm not sure whether they're plastic. I've heard some people say they're plastic, some people say they're metal, so I'm not exactly sure if they are plastic, they're pretty hard. You can put a bit of torque on them, but it wouldn't go ridiculously tight. But one thing I did find, this ring here, the focus ring, was very tight and hard to turn, especially when the cap is around. It's hard to get your fingers in there to turn them. So Williams Fox Sheet actually put me onto, I watched a review of hers to start with before I bought this one, and she recommended that I get a focus ring and scope extended lever, so then you can, makes it a lot easier to turn. Just tighten it up with that. And to put your batteries, this thread in here was very dry and didn't feel very good, but I just put a bit of lube on the thread And so in your batteries go in, you got your positive, negative. That one there, your positive goes that way, negative in there. Like so. Your door goes back shut. Now you do have to put a fair bit of force with these batteries just to get this, to squeeze that together tight so you can get the thread started so you don't cross thread. And to turn it on, just press and hold, and she starts up. See if I can get that focused on there. Okay, that's mounted on the rifle, and I'll see you outside. Okay, I've got my iAiming scope mounted onto my Ruger American 223 in the ranch rifle. I'm using 55 grain soft point reloads. I've got the Wi-Fi connect from the scope connected to the app on my phone, so I'll do some live videoing on that. Okay, let's go and have a look inside and see what it does. And I'll show you zeroing in the scope to the rifle as well. Okay, so now I'm looking through the little dial up here on the side. You got your knob, you turn it clockwise. No, sorry, yeah, you turn it clockwise, with the top back towards you, and it zooms in, turn it away, zooms out. Your one quick press of the button resets the shutter, but I have it set to 5 minutes because it doesn't really, picture quality never seems to degrade too much anyway, so 5 minutes is the maximum amount of time. So if you press and hold, brings up your menu options. You got mode 1, you can get mode 2, which changes the colour a little bit, it gives a bit more contrast. We'll go with that, with mode 2 for this review. Kinda looks a bit better. And then there's your brightness. I might, so you can turn your, well, the lower the number, the brighter it gets. But I'll leave it on 20. Scroll to the next one, contrast. Single press to expand the menu, that option. You can then use the dial to dial up and down to wherever you like. I have it on about 11, seems to be right for me. To exit your main menu, you just press and hold from wherever you are. But then we go into the next one. It's picture in picture, so you can turn that on. That just gives you a zoomed in section where your crosshairs are. Leave it on. I'll go out and I'll show you what it is, so you still get your crosshairs. Can't see a lot of detail because everything's cold and wet because we've just had a shower of rain. When you zoom in like that, it zooms in on the picture-in-picture image, not your main image. A bit better focused. Wind it up to those trees. Those trees are about 600 metres. Zoom in and out like that. Press and hold. I'll turn it off for now. There's your Wi-Fi, so you can turn that on and off. I'll leave it on so it doesn't stop the video. So you set your distance. My target is 25 meters. So I'll leave that set at that, but you can change it 50, 100, 150, all the way up to 300. I'll leave it at 25 meters. That's what my target is. Your rangefinder, it's only a statometric rangefinder, so it just works off your angles. But you can set your height of your target if you know what the height of your target is. I know it's 0.5 meter high, so then you can just wind your 2 lines together to make the bottom on your bottom of your target and the top on your top, obviously, and put it about there. What the target is actually 480 mil high. I'll make it slightly over, closer. Here you go, so it tells you your distance. Then we'll go into the next page. You keep scrolling down, it goes to the next page. You got your reticle types. So you got type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to 1 again. I like it on type 2 or 3. Select the type 2. This is how you can change your shutter timer. So I think I've got it set on 5 minutes. You can have it off. 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes. That's your auto shutter. You leave it off, so if you want to take a shot, you can just manually press it to recalibrate it if it needs recalibrating. So I'd set it to go every 5 minutes, and you don't needing to worry about it, image quality disappearing. Some people like to have it off all the time and just calibrate it when they need to. So just when you're going to take a shot, it doesn't recalibrate and freeze the image up for a second or so. Anyway, the next one is your colour palettes. You can have it white hot, black hot, iron bow, glow bow, sepia, red hot, and green hot. I'll leave it on black hot for the review. Now there's your zeroing profile, so you can change that one there, changes your height of your sight. Mine is currently from centre of the scope to the centre of the bore is about 6.9 centimetres. So you have to have that set fairly accurately, and you change you can have your calibre. I've got it on the 223, but you got from 22, all these different calipers, or you can have your own custom one. I'll leave it on the 223, then you can change your bullet weights. It's got preset weights in there, but I'm using 55 grain, so I'll leave it on that. And this one here is, you can set your correction for your bullet drop calculations at different distances. It'll work out if you're shooting at the target at 300 meters and you set your distance for 300 meters, it will automatically compensate for your bullet drop. So your crosshairs, you still only need to aim at your target. But with this, sometimes your trajectory might be a bit different to what's programmed into the scope, so it might drop more or less, so you can compensate. So you can go up or minus 2 centimeters, or it might be shooting higher 2 centimeters, but I haven't fiddled around with that too much, so I'll get out of that and keep moving on. There's your zeroing profile, zeroing function, but I'll just go and show you the settings. You can turn your recoil activated video. That's the only way you can record on this scope, which is a bit of a downside. I kind of wish they had a button to record, but it's only when you recoil, which is pretty sensitive too, so often just cycling your bolt will activate the video, so it's usable. But if you keep shooting, if you got a lot of things to shoot at, I found it just keeps recording. It'll record for 20 or 30 seconds, whatever it is, and there's no sound, which is a bit of a pain, but it's how it is. You get your Wi-Fi password is the next one down. You set your date and time, or restore the 0 reticle. I might do that just for the sake of this review. I might go yes. And that's the restore to default setting. No, I don't want to do that. So now currently my 0 should be not right on the rifle. So then I'll go into your zeroing. You have to auto 0 or manual 0. I always do auto because it's so much easier and quicker and uses less ammo. So I put hearing protection in. Okay. Now I'll click on the auto 0. It says please confirm 0 range at 25 meters. Click again. And it gives you a box to put your target in. And it gives you a 15-second countdown. Gives you 15 seconds to get ready to shoot. You line up your target in that box, and it says aim at the target and shoot. So whenever you're ready, take the shot. Okay, then hold it steady on the target. Okay, and you just leave it sit. Takes about, I don't know, 20 seconds or so, 30 seconds sometimes. You can see the heat signature from the bullet in the target quite clearly. I use poly belting on the target because just to go into that bit of plastic, it really shows up the bullet hole quite nicely. It's only about 2 mil thick. Just shooting through paper, you hardly see any heat signature from the bullet hole at all. At least we've had plenty scraps of poly belting lying around the property, so I cut one out to the right size to match the square in the target. Okay, so it says confirm that is where the hole was. Yep. And so the next shot should be in the same hole. We'll see how it goes. Line it up. In the same place. Okay, that's shooting correct. You can see the record flashing up in the top because I've got recoil activated video turned on, so it was recording the shot as well, but I'm recording in the app anyway. Well, another thing with the recoil activated video, when you go to replay to download the video on the app, you can only download it through the app. Off the scope you can't plug it in, but when you download it and you watch the video, it's only in about, replays the video at about almost half the speed of what it should be, so everything's in slow motion. But recording, if you hit the record video on your phone or your smart device, it will record at normal speed for some strange reason. But anyway, okay, so that's, we'll exit that now, and yeah, so that's pretty much all the functions. Another thing with your distance, I usually leave it set at 100 meters, but default, when you turn the scope off and back on again, it resets your distance to 100 meters as your default distance, which doesn't worry me because just using it on my 2D3, I'm mainly shooting at stuff out at 100 meters anyway, between 50 to 100. I found that shooting at 50 meters, it's still fairly accurate, pretty well right on, even with the distance in the scope set to 100. But shooting at 25 meters, when your distance on the scope is set to 100, there's a fair bit of, your bullet will be shooting a fair bit low, I've found. I think it's low. So if you're shooting at targets close, make sure you've got the distance set right. It's very hard judging distances at night with the thermals, but it's something you sort of, you get the hang of a bit. The more you use it, the better you get, but you still, most of the time you're only guessing. But there are thermal binoculars available with rangefinders in them, but I haven't had the privilege of being able to have one of them yet, but we'll see what happens down the track. But yeah, so the pros and cons. I'll start off with the cons. The one negative about it, it doesn't record sound, as I said previously, and also the video that you do get out of it, it's a bit like it's not laggy, it plays in slow motion, so I don't know whether it records in a higher frame rate, but then replays still in 30 frames a second, so it slows it right down. But I can just speed the video up to about 1.7 to 2 times is about normal speed then. And other than that, that's about, well, the other thing is the focusing ring here is very tight, or fairly tight to use, and when you got the cap open here, you haven't got much room to move. The pros, it's a great scope. It works, it holds zero well, it has a very clear picture with a 640 by 512 sensor in it, and it's got a 40 millikelvin sensor, so it's not quite as good as the Thermion 2s. They've got a 25 millikelvin sensor, but this one's still pretty good. And one thing I love is the one-shot auto zero. It works, and it works very well. I was recommended by Williams Fox Shoot to get a throw lever, just a couple of dollars off eBay. Just been 3D printed and got a screw through here and a nut here, tightened up. You just have to get the right measurement of the thing when you order it, so you know the right size. I just forget offhand what that measurement was, but that just makes it so much easier to focus the ring. Also, another con, not really a con, but just something to watch, with the battery door, the thread in here was quite dry when I got it, and I like to hold that shut when you're screwing it up, like press it back together before you start screwing it in, otherwise you could cross thread it fairly easy, and you don't want to be cross threading. It's probably only into aluminium there. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I did put some special grease stuff that I use in all my torch tail caps just to lubricate it a bit, and it works quite well. It holds zero well. It allows for your bullet drop. But so yeah, all in all, good scope, and I highly recommend it. The price, you'd have to check, but when I got this 2 months ago, and it was retailing from Magnum Sports in Sydney for, it was $4,830, I think it was. Well, that concludes this review on the iAiming Game Changer 612, the thermal rifle scope. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to give me some feedback, leave a comment below. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.